Yeah, 15 books. This one.
In this video, we're going to take a look at 15 books that will help you go from broke to millionaire. These are the most influential books that we read when we were sitting in your shoes, and by the end of this video, we'll share with you the specific reason why you should read each one, so you can pick and choose which fits you best. Remember, the average CEO reads 50 books a year, while the average American barely reads one. You'll find the full list of books in the description with links included. Now, with this in mind, let's just dive into these books. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Number 1. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. Here at Alux, we're big fans of Naval. He's one of our mentors and the people we look up to. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant is a collection of his most thoughtful insights into business and life. Even better, this book is free and you can download it by going to navalmanac.com. We recommend you start with this book because it'll serve as a framework for everything else you'll do in your professional life. And so far, we've yet to find a better starting point. You'll thank us later. Number 2. The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon is the book we always recommend to our beginner friends or those who are younger. This book will change your relationship with money and it'll put it all into perspective. It's one of those books you can read in one sitting, easy to digest and perfect for someone who isn't a reader. Plus, it's cheap to buy but tremendously valuable. Want to stop being a slave to others and buy your freedom? Well, read The Richest Man in Babylon. Number 3. The $100 Startup. Everybody thinks you need hundreds of thousands of dollars to create $1 million business. Well, they're wrong. The $100 Startup is one of those books we read early in our financial journey. It's not that you're gonna copy the business models in the book, although you could, but it's filled with example after example of how others did it with less than $100 to start with. Once you read this book, you can no longer use the excuse of you don't have enough money to start. Get it and put it to work. Number 4. Losing My Virginity. We grew up admiring Branson and the portfolio of businesses he managed to build. The Virgin Group now controls over 400 companies. That's insane considering he started the biggest ones on his own. If you want a book that will allow you to identify opportunities in your life out of personal needs, then Losing My Virginity is the book for you. It'll take you on a journey and it'll get your brain to think in a serial manner. Number 5. Millionaire Fast Lane. Many will recommend to you the same books over and over again. Those books that will teach you how to stop buying lattes, save every penny, and invest it in a mutual fund. This book is the antidote to all of those books. It comes out swinging the brutal truths just how we like them. The truth is that if you want to get rich fast, you need to build a business that grows exponentially. Something will click when you read this book, and you'll understand the power of capital gains. Number 6. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Come on, how many of you were waiting to see this on the list? Like this video if you did, you're smart to know it. But yes, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the fundamental book on passive income. For as long as you live, you will not be rich until you achieve financial freedom through passive income, and this is the Bible for that. Simply put, figure out how much it costs for you to maintain your lifestyle, and then work your butt off until you create enough passive income to cover that cost. Then you're free. Number 7. The 10X Rule. Love or hate Grant Cardone, the 10X Rule is a motivational piece. It forces you to think bigger in terms of goals and the action required. Honestly, we listen to the 10X Rule once a year just to get ourselves ready for the amount of action we need to take to crush our yearly targets. Every year, no matter what. We have an active subscription to Audible, and this is the kind of piece that's better as an audiobook. We've got friends at Audible, so here's what we'll do. Go to alux.com/freebook right now. That's alux.com/freebook. If this is your first time signing up, you'll get an audiobook for free. Any book on this list will do. It's a gift from Audible in order to show support for you, the Aluxers, so make sure you take advantage of it. Number 8. The 4-Hour Work Week. Gotta be honest with you guys, this was a game changer for us. Since day one, we built ALUX to be a location-independent business. That way, everyone working for our company can travel the world while still crushing their targets. This brings a level of freedom that once you taste it, you can never go back to the corporate life. Although we don't believe in the idea of a 4-hour work week, we know even Tim works more than that. The lessons in this book will help you to build the right system for your business. Number 9, how to win friends and influence people. You need to be able to talk to other people and earn their trust. They need to like you. If they like you, they'll want to spend time with you. If you spend time together, you'll grow together. How to Win Friends and Influence People is still, to this day, the best book that we've read on the topic, and you'll think so as well. Focus on the fundamentals, and you'll do just fine. Number 10, The Total Money Makeover. We wanted to put a book on this list for those of you who aren't starting from zero. Some of you are actually in the negative, you're in debt, and you're struggling. Ramsey's take is actionable, to the point, and the kind of advice the general population needs to start taking control of how they spend their money. If you've got money problems and want to finally do something about it, spend the $11 and get this one. Number 11, Atomic Habits. If you're a lazy person, then this is the book for you. You know you're wasting time procrastinating, but at the same time, you'd want your life to get better. The gap between these two is in the small things you do every day. Atomic Habits is about routines and how to build them. Over a month ago, we launched the ALUX app, which is distilled wisdom and value delivered to you in 10-minute bites. For many, the ALUX app is the first routine they've started deliberately, so we want to set a challenge for you. Go to alux.com/app and download our app. In it, you'll find a 7-day experience that's completely free, no strings attached. We challenge you to finish that 7-day experience and see the impact the daily routine will have in your life, even if it's just for those 7 days. Most people watching this won't do it. Are you different? Let's put that to the test. Go to alux.com/app and let's find out what you're made of. Number 12, The E-Myth Revisited. This is the perfect book for those of you who have a skill and want to turn it into a business. It'll help you figure out if you should make the move or not, and if you do, how to at least have a shot at not burning yourself out. Most businesses fail in the first year because people haven't read this book beforehand, which is why we strongly encourage you to get a copy. The last thing you want to do when starting a business is to find yourself employed in your company while running it. Number 13, The Lean Startup. We know some of you are numbers folks, the kind that love to measure and optimize everything. We're the same way, and this is the best book on building a startup company. It's a bit more technical than the rest, but hey, do you want to give your startup a chance of survival, or are we just pretending here? With the entire startup scene evolving, the Lean Startup will do wonders for those of you who are applying the lessons from traditional tech companies into Web3. Number 14, The Hard Thing About Hard Things. If the Lean Startup gets you started, the hard thing about hard things is the evolution of that. We recommend buying these two books together, even more so if you're tangent with the technology internet space. If you're the CEO of a company with a few employees and growing, this is the kind of book you need on your nightstand. Get it, read it, learn it. Horowitz is the kind of billionaire we aspire to become. It's hard to be a CEO. This book will be honest about what it's like and how to increase your chances of success. Number 15, Money Master the Game. Remember, this is a list of books to get you from $0 to $1 million. The truth is, once you get to a $100,000 or $200,000, the road to $1 million is pretty straightforward and fairly easy. Robin's book breaks it down into simple-to-follow terms, which will serve as your long-term strategy for investing the income you're bringing in. At least, that's what we did. These 15 books together cost under $300, and we guarantee you'll learn more about how to go from $0 to $1 million from them than from any get-rich-quick course those snake oil salesmen are selling. We know you guys are readers, so let's see. How many of these books have you read so far? Let us know in the comments. And as for those of you, you know where we're going with this, here's your bonus. The future of learning is personalized knowledge. We don't believe in cookie cutter solutions, the type of advice that works for everybody, because you're probably not like everybody. The kind of financial advice that works for a 30-year-old male in the US might not work for a 40-year-old woman in the Philippines. Your goal in life is to improve life as a whole. That includes money, but also happiness, mental health, relationships, and your understanding of.
They didn't think we would notice the midget Negro they had sitting at that table there. I will add another book to this too. The ADD friendly way to organize your life, I thought, is an excellent book for those of you who have issues with, like ADD like issues as adults, where you have your hands in so many different ideas and projects and whatnot that you need a little bit of help in organizing your life. I think that's a good book. I've read or listened to probably more than half the books on this list here, and I found them interesting. I will remind people, though, before I go to my panelists, I will remind people of this thing here. I put up a post earlier this week on the community tab talking about Marcus Garvey's lessons, and the last lesson, there was 11 of them. The last thing he says, in reading books written by white authors, be aware of the fact that they are not written for the particular benefit of your race. And that's the one thing I want to say about this list. When you read it, you're going to have to connect the dots between the game that's being given and your people and your situation, because they're not writing this for you per se. You can get some game from it, but you're going to have to do some additional work too. So I just want to add that to those of you who might look into those books. And again, I'm gonna hop on this again. You can become a book club podcaster with us with a list of books like this, for example. So keep that in mind for those of you. Razuli, if you're out there, hop on, click the link. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Hop on and join us. D-Web, I know you like to read. 15 books that will get you from 0 to 1 million. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I read like 6 of them and I still don't got $1 million. So
I'm telling you,
you still don't got the million?
Nah, they don't work like that. At the end of the day, yeah, it's all about your drive and ambition. You can hoard all the knowledge you want, but the biggest thing is taking the first step and honestly putting yourself out there and doing what you got to do in terms of taking that risk. I think that's the biggest thing that you can do is just do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people, along with it hit home when you hit that, ADHD, it's like, because I have a million ideas that I do, and then once I start one, I don't finish this one and move on to this one. So I think but I think the second thing people have with is the apprehension or the risk taking or putting yourself out there, because a lot of these ideas, and some of those books are trash, to be honest with you. Like the 4-hour work week is basically just a whole thing about outsourcing your time, unless you have the capital to outsource all the time and hire a personal assistant and a virtual assistant. That's not gonna work for you. That's like somebody who already got their stuff together.
Rich Dad Poor Dad is like that too. But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of these things are more so things that after you have already established some kind of financial literacy, now this is the next step for you. So I would say the biggest thing you need to do is establish a financial literacy. They talked about the what was that one book, The Total Money Makeover. Dave Ramsey got a good book. It's kind of old, but it's called The Guide to Money. And I think that's like a good start for anybody who has trouble, starting their finances or starting knowing what to do, make a budget. Like it goes into that. I think that's the biggest thing people need to do is make a budget. Like, so to me, it's a good list but it's for people who already kind of got some capital to invest. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I got.
No, D-Web, I appreciate it. I figured you would come through on that one. I appreciate that because, like yourself, I've read or listened to easily 7, 8, 9 of those books on the list. And, the one thing you said just now too that stood out to me is the real key to it is you just got to go out there and do it. And that's the hardest part. And no book is going to prepare you truly to get just go out there and do it and let's see, fall flat on your face and all that kind of stuff. But the $100 startup, for example, what I did like about that book is if you're willing to accept it, it gets you away from all that procrastination. We get into this procrastination thing where we have to have a 300-page business plan and all that kind of stuff. And one good thing about that book is it shows you, forget all of that. You could write all that shit on one page. You know what I mean? And start your business and then put yourself out there. That's the key, as D-Web said. The key to all that book stuff, you could read all that stuff if you want to. At the end of the day, it's about you having the balls to put yourself out there and try something. Real Black Gentleman, what say you to that?
I'm not too big of a fan of like too many of the books because again, it's like the syntax of the way they're speaking doesn't come from the same cultural locus. You know what I'm saying? The impetuses that drive. You know what I'm saying? What the reader's trying to say doesn't, a lot of times, I'm pretty literate, you know what I'm saying? I know how to reverse engineer, you know what I'm saying, what people are saying. Right. So but I read a book and then I'll get it, but I can't find like all the tools I can really use to like make a lot of those things work. Like I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know what I'm saying? It's like I've read a lot of those, various, popular books like that. I mean, you gotta read. You can always pick through things, but I think that ultimately, like, experience in the right connections. I mean, it's easy to read a book. You can kind of get pointers out of the whole book. I'm just hesitant on the like, saying that like, if you know what I'm saying, if you read a book, you know what I'm saying, you'll definitely get to where you need to go. I don't really have too much to say. I'm a pass the mic.
I will say this though. I don't want to discourage folks from reading because I'm seeing that with these kids, especially if you're going through the public school system. A lot of kids don't like to read. You hand them a book and they look at this shit like it's something foreign, like it's a tampon or some shit like that, right? Like it's weird to them.
Yeah, so I could read when I was really, really young. Like I could read when I was like 2. No cap. I could read when I was 2. I could read at a very, very young age. So like literacy is to me like reading books is something I was doing in like middle school and like I was reading like a lot of this stuff like. So like I'm with you 100%. Like literacy and like having hard copies of books is like the ebooks does not cut it. The whole the whole textileness of it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want people to think I'm discouraging. I don't want people to think that we're discouraging from reading. No, if you have a chance to read these books, if you're on My Anonymous or whatever the torrents are now for books, that's the one I'm on. Go and see if you can find them. You can find the audio, the what they call it, the Audible books as well. And take a listen. Like the ADD friendly way to organize your life. I listened to it and I did gain something from it. But you have to be a person who's not afraid to go through reading exercises, even if you're listening to the works. You know what I mean? With that said, Observing Immigrants. What say you about these 15 books that will get you from 0 to 1 million? Do you believe in it? Do you suggest it?
Well, I don't know who has read a book. Has Elon Musk and that other guy that owns Amazon read any of those books to get their billion, much less
not to get it, no. To maintain it, perhaps, but not to get it.
Okay. And well, personally, I think that more white people should read those books so they can make some millions to pay some reparations. so they can contribute to the economy, so they can pay Black people some reparations. that's that's all I have to say.
Let me ask this question to the chat. How many of you would be interested in reading one or two of these books? Drop a one if you would be interested in reading one or two of these books. I read this book. This book is garbage, but the Lean Startup. But yeah, if you're willing to read them, how many of you are? Drop a one. Gas, I know you're a well-read guy. Have you read any of these books? Do you have
I've
a
read
million
some
yet?
of them. I've read some of them. I'm not. I don't believe per se that reading is there's no lost information. I'll say for the most part, right? I think engaging with any type of information,
Mhm.
later on your perspective may shift. You may have a paradigm shift, and the information that you didn't, utilize maybe initially when you first encountered it, it might come in handy later on. I think that's, the human brain is infinite in terms of storage capacity. Um, I will say this in reference to business. I just think, like the brother said, uh, budgeting, right? That's an excellent start. A lot of times people say they want to, be an entrepreneur. I'll say this: the last person who I saw, and I shared it with a lot of people, was Andrew Tate. There's one of his videos from his Hustlers University on YouTube, and
Okay.
I didn't agree with everything, but a lot of the information he gave was just spot on. He said, for example, he said, you know, he has business ideas, and if he can't accomplish the business idea with under, or literally for free or under a few $100s, he doesn't engage with it, right? So he'll start a website, he'll utilize a niece or a nephew and their friends. He says speed, and he gives some good advice, I think, in terms of business. So I kind of like people who have done legitimate, tangible things
Mhm.
as opposed to people who are, they say those who do and those who, don't do teach, right? So for me, I look at a guy like Warren Buffett. Um, I look at his partner, Charlie Munger. I look at people like Sam Zell. If you want to get into real estate, Sam Zell, he's he's a billionaire based out of Chicago. He's like, his book, really good book. There's so many guys. I think for me though, just analyzing the system, what I've seen, the sister mentioned Elon Musk. No one tells us that Elon Musk, Tesla was he didn't even start Tesla.
Right.
Tesla was started by somebody else. He was
Mhm.
brought in. Uh, they were on the verge of obscurity, and somehow Obama selects them out of all there were like 4 or 7 other companies, I believe, that were in that space. Why did they select Tesla? Right? You start finding out it's who you know, right? Not what you know, and sometimes it's luck. Um, so I think for me, I don't tell people, hey, because people have this thing. I think they look at money like the casinos. You can just bring $500 and it's going to turn miraculously into 24 million in 4 years. It's like it can happen, but good luck with that, right? If you have a product, get out there and sell your product, whether it's shirts, whether it's you get a truck or whatever it is. You just got to be in sales, and there's nothing stopping anybody. I give it out free. I don't want to charge anybody. I don't want anybody's blood money, right? Just go to zenbusiness.com, register your company. And I'm not giving business advice. This is a public service. The bit of medicine does not give business advice. I don't want anyone to flag you, Coco. This is
Right.
not business advice. But anyone can go to zenbusiness.com, speak with an attorney and accountant beforehand, and register your business. When you register your business, you go to your bank, open up a business account with your registered business and your EIN, whether it's a C corp, S corp, whatever it is you decide to go with. Open up your business account with your bank, and from there, start putting money into your business account. You'll be shocked within 3-4 months, you can apply for a business credit card. Now you have business credit. You can, from that business credit, spend some things on the credit card, pay it down. Now you get, merchant credit or vendor credit. You can start buying, products from one particular place and going to the next stage. Then you start looking at how to get
Net
government
30.
procurement. Say it again. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I said net 30. You start getting those net
Yes.
30 payments and stuff. Net 90, yeah.
Exactly, right? You get your paydex score and things like that. Then, you take the next step looking at government procurement. You know, it's really sad if you really look at it. Like, I'm here on the East Coast in New York. Um, we're not organized. Like, I'll say this, right? Like, in the South, I was in Alabama for some time. I noticed that, like, the black businesses, they're able to coalesce to a certain degree, and within the construction fields, they have policies where, whenever there's construction done in Birmingham, you have to give to black um, entrepreneurs in the construction space. Well, of course, behind the scenes, we know what happens, right? You partner with a white firm, they're going to be getting most of the money on the back end, but you can be the face. And I'm not saying we should do anything illegal. Again, it's not business advice, but it's interesting we're not doing things like that in New York. But there's no rule stopping us from getting together and trying to get those, contracts from the MTA, from the city construction authority, and things like that. Because when you drive by, whether it's the Whitestone Bridge, and you see them doing construction, most of those guys you see are white guys. Rarely see, you might see one or two black or Spanish guys, but you don't see our people in those fields, because we don't register businesses and go down to
Yep.
City Hall and get those government,
Yep.
contracts. So I'm just saying that, I'll end with this. The other problem is that, like I said, I'll give the information away free. I don't want anybody's blood money, but our people, unfortunately, have this tendency to, the game is to be sold, not told. We don't help each other with nothing. So you'll see a black guy, and just my experience as a black man, particularly, black men are just haters. We don't help each other in business. We don't stick together. And if you do find a black guy who is trying to help you in business, be careful, because either he's trying to, cut your throat, or he's trying to take you shopping like P. Diddy. Or you get over you, of course. So he's trying to take you shopping like P. Diddy allegedly takes everybody shopping. But I'll stop there.
No, I appreciate that, Gas. I'll say this too. Gas hit on something so important, man. I went to an SBA. SBA is Small Business Administration, because I was trying to, at the time, this is a couple years ago, I was trying to get into that, at the very least, subprime or maybe micro purchases with the government, right, Gas? And I was in this meeting, and a black guy was there who had a construction company, a construction LLC, I think, or S Corp. I can't remember now. And he was trying to find out information, and a white dude leaned over and told him straight up, "You're not going to get no prime contracts, because the white boys, the Italians or whoever, they have that locked down, right? They're making millions. But you could get a subprime. You could go in there and do some of the work that they don't like to do, and you can make a couple of dollars. You know what I mean? But the other side of it is, we don't have enough black folks who are looking out for other black folks who want to get in the game and give them subcontract. At least not in New York. We don't have that. I tried to break in with the HR thing. It's very difficult to do it. And I want to send this out to Mr. Untouchable, who's not here tonight, Bwana Hagaziki, who put up this post, that one of the things I've been thinking about lately, and you guys, we can brainstorm this, like Real Black Gentleman said in the chat, business credit is worth talking about. We could brainstorm this type of thing in the future, but with Bwana Hagaziki, who's a smart guy, hey, man, if you want to link with me, you might not be here in the country, but if you bring that talent, that intelligence, we could figure out how to get into some of these government contracts that Gas is talking about, and break bread that way too, because a lot of it just requires creative thinkers and smart people getting together and strategizing, right? So I'm just putting that
Man,
out
Coco,
there.
I'll say, listen, Coco. I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. I'll just say this. I remember when I was in Birmingham, I had a meeting with a guy. I won't say the guy's name, and he was in charge of one of the agencies with construction down there. And this guy's telling me about, and this is a black man. He's telling me how, you see that sister over there? Yeah, I put her on. I gave her this contract. She didn't even know anything about construction. I told her how to set up her company and fill out the right paperwork, and she got a painting contract and told her how to get some Mexicans to sublease, and they did all the work. She got paid them off, and she's been doing that and this. And the guy never once, and look, man, I just want to get some money. I don't want nothing to do. I take my money, go back to Africa. He never once offered to do business with me. We had lunch like 3-4 times, never once. And I was just looking like, man, yeah, but it is what it is. That's the game, unfortunately. That's how our people play, right? We don't, especially in my experience, black men don't help other black men. We'll drink alcohol together. We'll go to a strip club and do nonsense together. But to say, hey, listen, this is how you structure your contract paperwork or your application, so that way, like you said, you can get some of those subcontracts that the ones who have it on lot, because they're probably like, if you add up all those subcontracts, let's just say New York City, it's probably like $7-10 million on the table. But because we don't know how to put our paperwork together and apply properly, because it's all about the paperwork and how you apply and how your company's registered, we're not getting looked at. So we can go to all the conferences we want, but if no one tells you, hey, look, you got to make sure your paperwork is like this, and you put it in by this date, and this and this and this, we're just always going to be flapping in the wind. And government contracts, if you really look at how to get rich in this country, it's off the government. Tesla is rich because of government contracts.
Biggest
yeah.
buyer. Yeah, no, gas. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just saying, the government.
No, I was stopping. Good.
Out here, D-Web, are you familiar with any of this government contracts and stuff?
Oh yes, sir. Particularly, we got the cheat code. Black.
Oh yeah, the military, right?
Yeah, minority. Even if you're just black, minority, they have to give a certain amount. I think it's like 10 to 20% to minorities by themselves. It's not even enough to fill the quota. People don't know that. It's not enough minority business owners to fill the quotas, and you can do something as simple as make screws for like the little screws that go into nails. Like, it's stuff like that. It's very simple stuff.
Webb, that shit is crazy what you just said. I know a guy with a government contract making decent money, and all he does is install doors, like shit that you wouldn't even think of, and that's bigger than the nails or the screws that you're talking about. But yeah, like some of these contracts are just to make all like locks are installed or something.
Or clean the offices or pick up paper and burn certain documents. It's so simple, but we just don't know about these things, and nobody is teaching us, and nobody's sharing the knowledge. And a lot of people.
Do you have a resource where people can go to for that? Where people can, like a website or some book or something they can go and check that out? Because I would share with, like I said,
they're not sharing this to people. You have to know people who know people to tell you this stuff, because it's not lucrative. Like, they want to keep their own trade secrets. I didn't even know this stuff until I was involved with these people. They're not gonna put a book out for this shit. You have to talk to other people about this stuff, like us. That's why we need think tanks. That's why we need to go to Sankofas and shit like that. We can share this stuff with each other, but they're not gonna put no book out about that shit. Hell no.
Yes, now we talking about some shit. This is what I like. You understand? The truth is, they ain't gonna tell you. Let me tell you something. That GSA awards thing, if you know, right? If you don't know, look it up. That GSA awards thing, you have to study that. In fact, to be honest with you, most people don't understand it. Most people don't understand that whole contract award system and all that shit, or SAMs and all that stuff. Most people don't understand it. Even I have had my trouble really figuring out these what's it called again, responses to these quotes and all that kind. Like, those GSA scheduling and all that stuff, it's difficult. But you see, the thing is, we try to conquer it by ourselves. Whereas we should be rolling like at least 12 deep, where people understand this aspect, I understand this aspect, you understand the other, and we put that together. It's easier that way. But when you're trying to understand all aspects of this shit, and if you think you're gonna put this info out there so every and anyone could get in, by the way, the biggest people to get these government contracts is white women. You know what's a game that these fuckers run now? They let these Asian dudes or whatever get these minority set-asides, right? But these Asian dudes are married to who? White women. So what these Asian dudes do is they get the set-asides for, I think it's 5 years or 8 years or something like that. They get it for the, for the max amount of time. And then they just change the business over to their wife, their white wife, who then goes and gets the white woman minority set-asides. So it's a game out here, but we have to play it different, man. And this is why I want you to have these subjects about entrepreneurship in particular. We got to sit down, especially as men, but not excluding women. We got to sit down and really discuss these things where, we have these groups, we have individuals with a specialty within the group, and we bring those ideas together and we conquer the system. That's how we get ahead. The government contracting system. You see Kevin Carey, who was here earlier, who's a photographer? I bet you there's a government contract in there just to come and take like 1 or 2 pictures every month and make a nice little piece of change. But we don't know it. They're not going to tell us that stuff. So that's something I want us to work on in the future. Let's figure out how to conquer that. And for those of us who are not in America, tie yourselves to one of us who's here. Bring your sense, your intelligence, and let's start to conquer these things. I mean, does that make sense to everyone on the panel?
Yeah, and I would like to add, like I said, I have the cheat code, I'm a Black disabled veteran, So if you have an idea, you want to throw me on as a minor, I appreciate it, and throw me on as a minor or whatever person in there and use that advantage. By all means, if I rock with you, do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm here so everybody can win and everybody can eat. If I ain't doing nothing with that contract, feel free to hit me up and throw me on your paperwork. You feel me? So that's all I got to say.
Oh, Webb, you shouldn't have done that because, we will talk because that veterans disabled set aside, that's even more rewarding than being a minority, to be honest. So we'll talk about that stuff, man. And I'm the kind of person I bread with my brothers and them who helped me out. So we'll talk about that soon. Anyone else want to add anything to this conversation, to this topic right here? All right, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 9 then. That was a really good topic. Let's try to bring that kind of thing back again. Like I think Gaston said, we can make that a segment where we kind of learn together if we play that the right way. So Trigger Happy or whoever's listening out there, keep that in mind, right? Shoot the Breeze topic number 9 tonight is